Alright, so before we get into this video, guys, I need y'all to look at these animations here real quick. And I'm going to give y'all some advice, alright? These animations, they need to change. My boys, if y'all dating a lady and if she rides you and her riding animation on you looks like this, there is something wrong with her. Same thing to y'all ladies. If your man is on top and his movement looks like that, there might be something wrong with him. But gamers and game mets, what is going on? My name is Tanek127 and welcome back to another video. And man, today's video, I got a good one for you guys. We're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. But before we get into today's video, special thank you to Torque and Wizards of the Coast for hooking me up with a review copy on PlayStation 5. So do enjoy the gameplay. In the background, you guys are seeing PlayStation 5 Dark Alliance gameplay. Now, first and foremost, one thing I want to get out of the way is a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of reviews out there, there's a lot of people claiming they were, fooled and stuff like that. That this game should have been, a story-driven D&D RPG and stuff like that, and that's what they thought it was. I'm going to show you the warning sign right here, because the developers, they've actually been pretty open. They've done a ton of dev streams and stuff like that about this game. So I don't know where anybody got confused notions from, but I've seen a couple reviews out there say, I thought this was more of a story-driven D&D RPG. No. They've shown that this is a loot game from day one. I'm going to show you the warning sign. Anytime you see a game with a gear screen that looks similar to Destiny, you know what it is. I'm not saying it's a games as a service title, but you know it's going to be a loot-based game because this screen, the layout, the UI of it is built to have a heavy emphasis on loot. There's no reason your loot needs to be displayed like that unless it takes a big part of the game or plays a big part in the game. Period. No, oh no, I'm wrong. You don't believe me? Okay, well, how about this? Keep looking at the screen, and we'll go through a couple examples. And I'm just going to ask you if we've been down this road before. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. But you're free to have your own opinions, thoughts, and everything like that. I'm not here to piss anybody off or anything, but I'm just giving my personal opinion on that take. Now, Dark Alliance, like I said, it's a loot game, straight up. Now, the thing that scares me the most about this game is I think it's so heavily loot-based that regular leveling and stats almost barely matter. Or at least that's how I feel when I play. For example, this gameplay you guys are seeing right here. This is me and one other random person on PlayStation 5 in a dungeon. Not one of my friends, not someone I know that's more experienced with this type of game or anything. Some random person on PlayStation 5 running this with me. Now, here's the thing about this dungeon that you're probably not even going to notice. This dungeon is currently almost 200 or more gear score higher than me. I'm a 1622. This dungeon is an 1850. And we breeze through here like it's nothing thanks to having decent equipment with a few extra stat bonuses on it. For example, I got a firebow that does a little extra damage over time, so it helps me burn down the enemies a little bit quicker. We're not doing millions and millions of damage to them, but as you guys can see, besides the few deaths of my partner, and I think I had a screw up or two here and there, we're not really struggling much with this dungeon. And that's all based to loot. You know why? Because this is only the third act in the first area of the game. I don't even have a build established yet. And I'm already running through, harder content, and I think that's kind of that's kind of crazy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's a decent grind here. There are still tiers and tiers harder of dungeons. There's a lot of things where you can do to upgrade your gear and stuff like that. And mind you, I also got a decent amount of legendary pieces after clearing this run as well. And I just hope that if I'm getting legendary stuff that early, I hope there's still decent ones and more satisfying sets to grind for at the end of the game or even in the endgame territory stuff. Now, like I said, this is a D&D game. It is a loot game, but there are some, story elements here. But I'm going to put it to you guys like this. Like most loot games, a lot of the lore in this game and stuff that you're going to want to know, especially if you're a hardcore D&D fan, is mostly in the menus because the cutscenes don't tell you much. When you play the game, the characters more so feel like they're just sprouting random nonsense at the enemies and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, there's a few cutscenes that give some context of what's going on in that current level and everything, but for the most part, when it comes to the story, unless I was checking, a lot of the lore catch up stuff and information in the menus, I was mostly lost in the game's storylines. All I really know about this game is, I'm a hero. I want to go in here, kill all these monsters because they're bad, and get the good shit that they drop. And I'm gonna be real with you. That's the only real story and background that I feel when it comes to this game. Now, I'm sure it's a lot deeper than that. And if I'm wrong, the comments are there. You're more than welcome to correct me. Now, the things that the game does right. There's a lot of things that it does do right, and I want to give props to this. Dark Alliance is probably in position to be one of the more decent looter games that we've had in a while. I'm going to explain to you guys why, and I'm going to give you some examples of past ones that have done things wrong. I'm going to simply take two. Let's take Anthem and Outriders, for example. Anthem launched, in a bad, crappy state, but one of its biggest issues in the long run was its lack of content and being a game as a service game, and EA just wasn't able to, to deliver on that. Outriders launched as a fully complete game with an end game, but it just, it stops there. Nothing else comes afterwards unless the developers feel like they want to make a paid expansion one day for it or make a sequel. That's it. Outriders is done, cut and dry. Dark Alliance gives you a base loot game at less than a retail price. The game's $40. You can pay $60 to get some extra goodies and have access to the game's first planned expansion. But they have the base game. There's a couple free updates planned, and then there's a couple paid expansions planned. Kind of how things work with like a typical MMO RPG. And this, I feel, is a pretty decent model for how a loot game should run. There's going to be free updates to give you some stuff to do to keep you busy while you wait for the expansion. And then there's going to be a nice meaty expansion. And I'm sure that, depending on how many expansions they do, there'll be more free updates between that than another expansion. And yada, yada, yada. If you've played any MMORPG, you probably get how this works. Now, there's a 4-player social hub in the game. There's four different classes. You have Katie Bree, which is, the archer. And the weird thing is, right, I kind of feel like, with some of these crazy hybrid classes they made in this game, they killed potential to make a lot more classes, which I find is weird. Like Katie Bree, for example. This girl feels like a healer, an archer, and a mage all in one. That's why I use her, because, she's stupidly powerful. She can heal herself, heal her allies, use magic, and fire arrows. I'm like, what the hell? Why would I not play this? Now, don't get me wrong. People like Bruno and stuff like that, the tank and the spin to win class, and of course Dritz the assassin. They're all good, solid classes. They did a good job with the classes in here. I do think there could have been a little bit more variety, and they definitely could have offered more classes. Like, for example, this is a D&D game, and we don't have a damn wizard. Why? Why is there no mage in a D&D game at launch? I don't know. Come on. Somebody's got to get with me on that. Seriously. But, yeah, there's absolutely no casters in this game right now whatsoever. And I just find that, to be a really crazy thing. And besides Dritz, besides him, holding 2 katanas, there's no sword in this game either. A Dungeons and Dragons game that doesn't have a wizard or a sword in sight. Come on. For work with me. I'm just saying, I think the game could use some more variety, especially for the fact that, it's all based off of D&D characters with no character creation. Now, the cool thing is about these, even though there's no character customization, the characters are 100% customizable with their gear and loot, meaning you can wear whatever you want and look however you want. Every time you earn a piece of loot, it is automatically saved in your game as a cosmetic piece. So if you don't like the way something looks, you can always change it back later, which is, a really a really cool thing. There's no microtransactions, so you don't have to worry about buying skins or anything like that. I think there were some exclusive weapons or something you could get for pre-ordering, but that's really about it. There's no room or anything for microtransactions in this game, but I'm going to hold to that because we have seen plenty of games launch with no microtransactions and developers end up adding them later. So I'm not going to say there will never be any, but as of right now, there's no microtransactions, and that's part of their advertising with the game. Now, while I think the game is fun, and does offer a decent experience for a looter game, I personally need to evaluate it more, get to endgame and see what endgame is going to be like, and then I can give you a further analysis from there. But I will say it does offer a decent experience for what it is. But here's my whole thing when it comes to this. All right, I want you to be realistic about what you're getting. If you decide to dive into this game, because you're a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan, and a lot of you D&D fans, y'all play tabletop and stuff like that. You're deep, heavy in things into lore. All right, you're not going to find that hardcore story-driven experience in this game, or at least for right now. I don't know what kind of improvements, how things could change down the line, etc., etc. But I want to be realistic. If you're a D&D fan looking for, a decent looter game of, your favorite franchise, then I would definitely check this out. But I just want to, be realistic and let you know, the kind of game you're diving into. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not to say it's a bad game. But this game at first glance, for the way a lot of people look at it, I just want to be real with you about what it is. And hopefully you guys can, come to appreciate that in this video. But anyway, stay tuned after this because I'm going to show you guys another example of us, destroying the final boss at my lower than necessary gear score. But anyway, guys, if y'all enjoyed this video or have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you liked today's video, smash that thumbs up, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Take care. Have a good one.